welcome. Compliments of the new year. Debates Never Die is back. We're ready to kick off 2023. Another year of exciting football ahead. We'll be with you week on week as we continue to enjoy the thrills, the highs and lows of football. I'm joined by my two colleagues today. Welcome, Tobi. Welcome, Bones. How are you guys feeling? Happy New Year.
We're good. Happy New Year. Good to be back. And we're excited for the year.
Tobi, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, bro, I'm good. All good. Happy to be back on the pod. Hopefully more episodes to come. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the holidays are over, Oaks. The World Cup is behind us. The first half of the season is behind us. And I was thinking about it earlier. We've got so much football left in the remainder of the season. It's actually crazy, like how this World Cup break has kind of broken up the season into two distinct parts. We kind of know what the state of affairs was before the World Cup break. We enjoyed that fantastic World Cup in Qatar. But now it's back to business. And we're going to kick off with just your guys' thoughts on the football that's ahead. Obviously, the state of the Premier League. Our teams were obviously not joined by our colleagues who support other clubs. This is a very one-sided episode, which I think we deserve. But I'll start with you, Tobi. Just in terms of the state of the Premier League, obviously Arsenal with the lead over Man City, Newcastle and Man United in that top four race. What are you thinking? What are you predicting for the second half of the season in the Prem?
So I think, like we said, I think even Bowen said this, you said this, I said it towards the end. United are going to make a late title charge. And remember, I think we should clip it, post it on socials. They laughed at us. I still remember. They said we're crazy. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think United are going to carry on pushing forward. I do think these next few games are going to be very difficult. If we can leave with a win and one draw, I'd be very happy. I'm not going to lie. I expect the win to come against Arsenal. I don't know how it's going to end up against Man City. But I do think it'll be a good game, especially given the fact that how bad we were the last time we played them. We've improved so much this time. So it's going to be a very interesting game for me.
Bones, your thoughts on, I mean, we 18, 17 games into the season, almost at the halfway mark. It's quite clear who's in the range for the top four. What's your thoughts on what's to come for the rest of the season?
I think as stated previously, I think United we've hit our turning point. I think there are certain players that are also on the resurgence, the Rashfords. There are also players that are starting to find their own, the Casemiros and whatnot. So I think everything's starting to come together for United specifically. City are a bit on and off, so I'm not sure, especially in terms of our game versus them. And Arsenal also just don't really look like they're letting up too much. So I think it's going to be a very, very tight and interesting title race going into it. But I'd be remiss without saying that I think United are going to make a nice push into the top four and stay there.
Agreed. For what it's worth, there's just an air of quiet confidence with Man United right now. I think we've got enough reason to be a bit optimistic. It's been a while since we've had justified reason to have some optimism. And like you say, Bones, we've got a few key figures actually like establishing themselves just as players in this team. Like we know kind of what we can expect from certain guys. We know who to turn to. So yeah, I can't blame us for feeling confident that between the Man City and Arsenal games that are coming up, between this tough run that we have with Prem, the League Cup, Europa, and FA Cup, we can get off some wins that can put us in a nice position come March, come April, like I said a few months back. But not to make this too much about Man United, there's obviously just a few other things happening in the Premier League. What are we thinking of, Tobi? I hope you have something to say about this, about the state of Tottenham right now. Are they in the top four charge? What do you think of them?
Yeah, 100%. I still think they're in the top four charge. Obviously, in recent weeks, we've seen the other side of Tottenham. I guess they do have, what you call that dog in them. They've been able to come back hella times, which is, I think, it's a good trait to have. But I don't know why they start games so slow. But yeah, I'm sure people will be looking at me after I said they'll probably end up second this season. But I don't know. I think when we look back at the teams that they've had, the teams that they've had, like they've missed out on Kulusevski, who's been injured. I guess Son's not in the best form at the moment. So I do think there are players that they're missing. Like I think the other day when they were like 3-0 down or 2-0 down or something, they brought on Jed Spence and the boys and like that. So I think they are lacking a lot of players at the moment. So it is something that I think people should be thinking of. But I don't know. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
And Bones, just to wrap up our little segment on contenders in the Prem, Liverpool obviously languishing in seventh. I love making fun. I'm really enjoying Liverpool this season. Just their fall from the heights of last season and seasons before. What are you expecting from them? Are you expecting them to kind of sort themselves out? Obviously, January transfer window is open. They've already got Gakpo through the door. What do you make of them? Are they going to cause trouble in the top four, or are they going to carry on with this topsy-turvy season of this?
I think, I mean, even just looking at their last 5, they won 4. So I feel like they're starting to find their rhythm as well. So I would say that they're also going to make a push into the top 4, which is why I say that the race to get into the top 4 and stay there is going to be a very interesting one. Because I mean, from City at 39 points to Liverpool at 28, that's second to seventh. That's a 11-point difference between 7 clubs. That's not a lot. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. But I think they are gonna make a bit of a charge into the top 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Nah, I hear you. So yeah, just to wrap up this little look ahead, gentlemen, I'm going to ask for something quite unique here. I want us to lock in, all of us, two sets of predictions. One, in order, first to fourth. I want us to lock in our top 4s, and then I also want us to lock and set in stone who we think is going down. Because as much as it's all happening at the top of the Premier League table, I think personally what's happening at the bottom end is ridiculous right now. If you look at the teams in the bottom 4, I am shocked. So I'll start with you, Bones. Give me your top 4, first to fourth. Who's winning and who's making the Champions League?
Sheesh. Okay, I would say that I'll go 1 to 4 in order. So I think I'll say Arsenal.
Oh, sorry.
I say Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool.
Locked in. Tobi.
That's my top 4.
See, this is tough because this all changes after these next 2 game weeks. They can be completely different. That's the worst thing about this. But if I have to actually pick 1 to 4, I'm gonna have to go City, Arsenal, United, Tottenham Hotspurs.
Ooh, you're not giving up on Spurs, are you? You just refuse to quit, man. Refuse to quit. For what it's worth, and I know we'll get into the bone of contention at the top of the table in our next segment, but I will stick with Arsenal winning the league by the finest of margins. I think what they're doing now is quite special, and I know we're going to talk about it. Man City will finish second, United in third, and I think I'm going to go with Bones here with Liverpool, a very close fourth to United. I think there's some points that Liverpool will comfortably get. I know United, we should expect to drop points, especially with the tough games that are coming up, like Tobi's mentioned. But that's my top 4. And now let's flip it to the other end of the table. I mean, as it stands, Southampton rock bottom, but that bottom 4, Wolves, Everton, West Ham, these are clubs at the beginning of the season that you kind of expect to be challenging for the 9th, the 8th, pushing for those European spots. Moyes is in trouble. Frank Lampard's in trouble. Lopetegui's just taken over at Wolves. I need us to make some really certified, cemented predictions. Who's going down, boys? Who's getting the chop? I'll start with you, boys. Okay, I think we all agree on that one, but let's hear Bones first.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I won't even lie. Southampton's result against City the other day, it might be the impetus for a bit of a late run of form, who knows. But as things currently sit, I think I'm going to say Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton.
Ooh, Everton getting the drop. There we have it. I was hoping someone said it before me, but we'll get to what I have to say. Tobi, let's hear bottom 3.
So obviously it's gonna have to be Southampton. That's just a given. It's difficult. I'm gonna have to say Bournemouth. Shout out Malcolm. Cap. This guy said that they were a top team, remember? And now they're back to 16. That's why you can't trust Malco, bro. But yeah, so Southampton, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna copy you there, T-boy. I've barely watched Southampton this season, but it seems like every time I watch their highlights or tune into a game, I don't know who plays for Southampton. I don't know who manages Southampton. And I don't know. I can't tell you anything about them. I don't know what that club is about right now. I feel like any sort of identity they had under budget Klopp is now gone.
Honestly,
and they've had their time, but yeah, I think
I've got a question. So let's say Southampton go down. Would you take Ward-Prowse at United?
No, I wouldn't, because
fair enough.
We don't need relegation fodder at our club. But anyway, anyways, Bones, I do think Everton won't get the drop because Fat Frank is on his way out. And they're going to sell that club. But I do think Everton will have the juice. So what I'll do is I'll throw Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest into my bottom three. So I've got Southampton, Bournemouth, and Forest in my bottom three. But Everton, West Ham, I don't know what West Ham are doing in 17th, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know what they're about. Like, and I don't think sacking Moyes is a solution to their problem. So let's see what they have to say.
Nah, I really do think it's the solution to their problems, bro. I think when you look at the players they've bought, they don't play the way in which Moyes wants them to, if you know what I mean. Like, has Moyes ever played, when last did Moyes ever play with a number 10? I don't actually remember when. With someone like Paqueta. Has he ever played with someone like Paqueta?
Even if he hasn't, bro, I mean, they have too many other good footballers for that to be the reason. Like, I disagree with the fact that style of play is what's causing them an issue right now, because I think Moyes is experienced enough to kind of change it and fix things. Like, what is the problem? I don't think the problem is that Moyes has been given players he's never played with before, because he's the type of manager to just stick to what he knows and play the guys who'll get him wins. And I don't think that's working for him either. So, I don't know.
That's true.
What do you think?
I mean, I would agree with Thabani, because I think they do have good players, and I mean, Moyes is a tried and tested Prem manager, especially these kind of struggling teams that kind of overachieve. So it is a bit shocking that they've been playing this badly and haven't been getting results. But yeah, I don't know. I have faith in Moyes that he can kind of steer them at least close to mid-table by the end of the season. Just by virtue of the fact that there are a lot of capable ballers there. They just need to find a way, a style that makes sense with those players.
Yeah, that's my issue, bro. That's the thing. And Moyes' style will never work with players like Paqueta, bro. But anyways, that's my point of view. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see indeed. Yeah, just to wrap up, I think let's be all encompassing here, because we haven't really touched on what's happening in the middle of the Premier League. I'd like to start off with an apology. Thomas Frank, I owe you an apology. I was not familiar with your game like that. Brentford currently sitting in 9th place, wins against Man City, Man United, Liverpool. Brentford, I was thinking the other day, is Brentford away turning into like Stoke away, where it's that kind of fixture where they can beat anyone on their day when that ground is bouncing? Yep, it feels like that. So Brentford, respect to you. Brighton, I think De Zerbi, shout out to De Zerbi, because while our man Potter is floundering there in London, De Zerbi has taken what was a steady ship at Brighton and just made it work there. So shout out to him as well. Tobi, obviously, I think you were one of the people telling us first that Stevie G was going to get the sack. Aston Villa sitting in 11th. Unai is at the wheel. What have you made of them? Obviously, they did spank United when we went to visit them. Do you think Aston Villa can do any better than 11th or 10th?
Any better? No. I think that's a fair position for them now, and I guess until the end of the season, I won't lie. Because when I look at them on paper, they're not better than Brentford, Brighton, Liverpool. Maybe you can argue against Fulham, but they're almost 10, 11 points behind Fulham. But I don't know. I think what he's doing at Aston Villa, we all know the type of game. It's more of a defensive base, maybe counter-attack here and there. But I think my issue is I don't know how long Aston Villa, I guess, will want to continue to play like that. I guess if you're getting the results, you stick with it. But I do think that once, for example, if the goals start to dry up and they get into a rough spell, it could be curtains for them just because of the way they play. They're not very attacking. It's very sitting back the whole time. But I don't know. I hope he does well though. I think Emery deserves to. He deserves to be in the Prem, shining a little bit.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I see Aston Villa linked with Matteo Guendouzi. I think if that move comes through, that's definitely Villa going down in the table. That's just a personal opinion. Thankfully, the others aren't here to engage. Bones, there's one club that we haven't
very
really...
gorgeous to me.
Hey?
I said you'll get Kanye saying he's very gorgeous to me.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not trying to deal with that, bro. Bones, there's one club that we haven't touched on. I mean, we've talked about the top of the table, the bottom of the table, mid-table. Fulham currently, knocking on the door of that top 6 spot. Marco Silva, I mean, I slandered him. I've had Marco Silva slander for years. Has he surprised you at all? And do you think this is a bit of a bubble and that things will return to normal? Or are Fulham genuine outside contenders for at least like the Conference League spots, 8th, 9th, maybe even 7th? What do you think of Fulham?
They really surprised me. I won't lie. I mean, my fantasy has always had Mitrovic, so I've always believed in that man. So I did always see them having goals coming in, but in terms of the results that they've been getting, it's been a bit of a shock. I won't lie. Whether they can sustain it, I'm not too sure. But I mean, they are leading Chelsea right now, and if they win that game, they go into 5th, which will be very interesting. Very, very interesting. But I don't see them sustaining this charge. I think they'll fall a bit wayward, closer to the mid-tables, probably finishing around 9th, 10th. But like, shout out to them because, yeah, I don't think anyone expected them to do this well.
Agreed. Yeah, let's see what they can cook. I've been stalling, guys. I really don't want to move on to the next topic, but I think it's time. We have to talk about Arsenal sitting pretty at the top of the Prem. 44 points from 17 games is so impressive. I think they've only dropped points in 3 games. Someone did make a good point the other day. I think I saw on Twitter that we're not even like halfway through the season yet. And there's still a long, long way to go. But then I was thinking, look, if someone told me after 17 games, we'd be 5 points clear, my club would be 5 points clear, 14 wins, only 1 defeat, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I don't think any club in the Premier League, including Man City at the beginning of the season, would have taken that. So are they the real deal? I'll start with you, Tobi. What do you make of Arsenal? They're fantastic start to the season. Is it a bubble? Are teams gonna catch them? What are we saying about Arsenal?
All I can do is commend Arteta for what he's done, man. I think their recruitment this summer has been. I mean, in the summer has been something else, man. Bringing in Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus. I think it's not even a bubble. I won't say it's a bubble. I just think it's a new era for them. I think they've been in the mud for a very, very long time, and I think now we're beginning to see the Arsenal that I think a lot of fans wanted to see. And do I think they'll win the Premier League? No, but I do think even if they don't win the Premier League, they should be very happy because earlier in the season, I think all they were hoping for was top 4. Now they're going to see themselves play. And so I think they're going to be able to attract new players. So I think it's going to be a very good season for them, even if they don't end up winning. I wouldn't say they bottled it if they don't end up winning it, but I will say that it sets a good foundation for the next coming seasons. I think it's actually going to be mad. It's going to be a United Arsenal era back again. We're going to run it back. So I'm glad. I'm looking forward to it, bro. Shout out Arsenal,
don't say that too loud, man. You're gonna anger some people. But in the spirit, in the spirit of fairness, right? Because I mean, this is a very United-dominated episode. Let me try to be impartial. Why do you say they won't win the Premier League? Why? I'm sorry, but if City were sitting with 44 points from 14 games, you'd say they definitely win the league. You say they're cruising. You'd say, this is City. This is the same old City. So why don't you believe in this turnaround? Why don't you believe they have the minerals?
Bro, because think about who we're talking about. We're talking about Man City. They're coming on towards winning a 3-peat, bro. Like, they've been in these positions. They have the stamina. They have the squad. Like, I just feel like people are riding off Man City too early. What's going to stop them from now going on like a 20 game win streak or something like that, 21 game win streak. They could end up beating United, then beating the next game, and then what's gonna happen? Arsenal still have to face City twice. They still have to face United. They still have to face Spurs at the Tottenham Stadium, which is a very bad game for them according to history. I don't even know what the win percentage is, but I know it's not that high. So there's a lot of games, and they don't have a lot of players. Nketiah, Mvu thinks he's gonna step up, but I don't think he's gonna step up in those big games. So I do think there's a lot of things that people are forgetting, and like I don't want to say people are disrespecting Man City, but I do think people are not like they're not understanding that this team is serious, man. Pep is gonna be drilling these guys, especially now after that loss against Southampton. It's gonna be scary hours, bro. That's just my view.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I'm going to move to you, Bones, because we both had Arsenal winning the league. Did you put Arsenal first because you wanted to, or because you genuinely believe that like they have what it takes to actually win this Premier League, or did you kind of just have it as like they're going to win because they're doing so well? Like why do you have Arsenal winning this Premier League? And do you differ from Toby in the sense that people are writing off City too early, or are they the real deal?
I mean, I did put City at second, and I do think it'll be a very tight race. I put Arsenal at one because, I mean, I won't lie to you. I've been hating the City dominance. So yeah, it pays me. I'd rather see Arsenal win than City. And also I think the slight eerie confidence about Arsenal. Like even when you see them playing, there's so much composure in the game. Like they're also very well drilled. As much as City are,
yes,
you can see that Arsenal over the years have kind of cultivated an identity. They have an identity, and they all know what they're supposed to be doing when they're on the pitch, when they get the ball. Everyone knows where people are supposed to be. And let's not forget that they're doing this even in spite of Jesus not playing. And Jesus was like their main guy at the beginning. He did kind of lose form getting close to the World Cup, but I think even when he comes back, that'll give them another dimension again. And so I think they can keep the momentum going. I do hear Toby's assessment that City have been here before. And they have a lot of new hungry guys, especially Haaland. So in terms of them kind of not losing pace and not getting too distracted in the fact that they're not number one, I do see that, but I still think that Arsenal could pull it out the bag, just because they don't seem surprised that they're number one, which is that's what's scary to me, because they seem like they expect this kind of step above what everyone thought they were going to be. They don't seem surprised as much as we do. And that, I think, is the thing. Because once you have confidence within the whole squad, I think really only, they can fight themselves in terms of in terms of them losing momentum.
Yeah, fair enough, bro.
Facts, bro. And I think that last point you made about the confidence, like that's also why I have them as winning the Premier League, just because I just get the sense that just like dominant teams of recent years, just like the Man Cities, and especially when Liverpool were kind of the second or the most dominant team, you just get that sense that Arsenal are going to win every match that they're going to play until they don't win it. Like, doesn't matter how they're playing, doesn't matter what the score is, whether they go behind, whoever the opposition is. And I understand they haven't played Man City at home or away this season, but even the game against Newcastle that took place that ended up in a draw, you expected Arsenal to win that. Arsenal are going to every match as the favorite, and I think from a player point of view, that just makes it a bit easier to focus on playing well to win, because it's a kind of imaginary pressure that we kind of say that they don't have this experience and they've never been in this position before. But they're just going one match at a time, and they're the favorite in every match, and they're playing the same type of football, and it's getting them results. And I think even if they do stumble, I think I don't see like a stumbling block or a rough patch for them that lasts so long and that things go so badly for them that things turn around and they slip down the table. So yes, it will be a close race, but for now, until proven otherwise, I will leave Arsenal at number one because, like I think Bones, you made the point. They're playing football that has been cultivated and it's been built, and I deserve credit here, and I will take credit. I'm the only person who's believed in Arteta since day one. The only one who's believed in him since day one. And I hope those clowns in the group, when they listen to this episode, give me my daps. Yes, Sundar, yes, Kanya, yes, Malcolm, yes, Mbu. I'm talking to you guys. I'm the one who dapped Arteta since day one. Shout out him. And I think it'll be kind of hard. I think it'll be kind of tough the season immediately after they do the Amazon documentary to go win the league, because that'll make them global again. Like, that's now putting Arsenal like front and center, top of the map. That'll be quite hard. It'll be tough to take, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I hope they don't win it. But if we have to accept a new Premier League champion, then it might as well be Arsenal. And the reason I say that, as we segue to our next point, is because, like Tobi alluded to, if Arsenal are up, it kind of guarantees that we are next up at Man United. Because our guy's cooking something. Our guy is cooking something. 1 hug, 2 hug, 10 hug. They called him Eric 10 months. They called him Eric 10 goals.
Wow.
They called him Eric 10 rejections when we couldn't get players in the summer. Where are they now? Look, 9 points behind Arsenal. A game at the Emirates coming up soon. A game against City coming up soon. And like I said in the beginning, there's an air of quiet confidence amongst us, amongst our fan base, that someone is in charge of this club who knows what they're doing and has a plan for us.
Definitely.
So why shouldn't we be allowed to talk of us not as title contenders? I don't think we'll win the title, but why can't we be in the mix? Why can't we be third or second with 10 games to go? Why can't we? Obviously, there's a stat that's flying around now, Tobi. Eric Ten Hag, quickest manager to 20 wins as a Man United manager, 20 wins in 27 games. 20 wins is how many wins we had the whole of last season. We deserve this. We deserve to be happy, bro. So I'm going to pass this one to you. What are you making of us right now, the state of Man United? And do you think it's fair to put us in that, just in the mix, bro? Just in the mix.
Just in the mix, definitely, bro. I think at the moment, you even said it yourself, 20 games. Last season was a disgrace. This season, at least, we're beginning to show signs of life again, bro. Like Bone said earlier, players are starting to, I guess, show themselves. We have Casemiro coming into his own in the Premier League. We have Rashford turning up again, which is something that we knew was going to happen. We said it, bro. He just needed a coach. He needed someone to tell him what to do and the best way to play, and it's working. So yeah, I think, do we deserve to? I mean, should we be saying that we're in the mix? Yes, but I do think we need to stop being, not me and you, but I think there's a lot of fans out there that are getting a little bit too gassed. Like, I'm seeing quotes of people saying Man United are the only team left in all 4 competitions. What? It's facts, bro. It's facts, but like that doesn't mean anything. That does not mean anything, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, we might win the Carabao this season, which is gonna be good. No, very good. But I mean, like, all these stats, they're not gonna mean anything at the end of the day if we end up just winning the Carabao and then we're out of the rest. So I think we just need to slow down and just, like, I think we're starting to put a lot more pressure on the team than we need to be. Like, remember I said earlier this season, if we don't win anything, because I know, like with Arsenal, there's a process, there's a journey. So hopefully towards the end of next season, or towards the start of next season, we start to see a well-oiled side, a more established side that knows what type of football they want to play. And then I think we'll kick on from there. But like I said, these last few games, we played teams that I guess aren't that good, essentially. But I guess these are the games we would be losing last season. So I can't hate on that. So other than that, I don't know, man. I'm gassed. I'm happy to see what's going to happen. But I do think we need to relax a little bit, because we'll start to see when we face teams like Man City, Arsenal again, it's not going to be as easy, bro.
So, okay. It is called Debates Never Die. And there's a bone of contention here. I disagree with what you said. I know you made the prediction at the beginning of the season, but I do think we are Manchester United. I have every right to say that we can have standards.
Yes.
This team and the state of where we are now has to win a trophy this season. That should be the expectation.
What?
No. Can I tell you why? Because
Actually, no, sorry. Yes, given the situation that we're in now with the cup, yes, no, I guaranteed
Yes,
100%.
with the Carabao Cup,
Yes,
obviously,
yes,
in the semi-final
yeah.
against three teams who, stature-wise,
Actually,
position-wise,
yes, yes,
resource-wise, are all beneath Man United, right? We need to, if we aim to getting back to the glory days, we have
yeah,
to accept that when you are in this position, you have to go for the kill. And
100%,
I'm
yeah.
putting it out there. I demand that we win the Carabao Cup, right?
Yeah, no, okay, that
Not
I
winning
agree
this
with
Carabao Cup
100%, yeah.
will be a failure. I don't care what anyone says. It will be a
No, it will
failure
be a failure.
if
It
we
will
don't
be,
win the
actually.
Carabao Cup. And then I'll flip it to you, Bones. But we've obviously drawn a relatively tough game in the Europa League as well. Obviously, fumbling in the group stages means we've now drawn Barca to get through to the next round. But again, don't you think we should kind of be demanding that this team, at least at the very least, if we're going to lose to Barca, we better go down fighting. We better go down swinging. And even the FA Cup, Man City have been drawn against Arsenal in the next round. Those are two teams that we don't want to face. But if one of them is going to be out, why can't we dream of an FA Cup? So what's your expectation for, we kind of know where we are now, but what are you expecting, your honest standards for between now and the rest of the season, Bones?
I definitely want a trophy. And I think, especially the Carabao Cup, that is a very, very achievable goal. And I think that with such a young squad, and I feel like this team and the players in this team, we've always generally had good players, but we haven't had a manager who actually coaches players. Ole didn't coach players. He was a good manager, but he didn't coach these guys. He didn't really grow any players. You're literally seeing players grow under Ten Hag, which is something that I was hoping, that I mentioned at the beginning of the season, that I was hoping, or I was relying on the fact that Ten Hag is renowned for player development. And, I think you're starting to see the fruits of that. You're seeing Dalo, even Wan-Bissaka is having...
Shout out Dalo.
A little bit of form coming into things.
Wait, Bones, can I get my hit for Wan-Bissaka then, or is that too late now?
Can you get your?
Bro, 3 games ain't a hit. 3 games ain't a hit, bro.
Yo, God, what?
Nah, carry on.
Yeah, like I definitely think I agree with Thabani that we should have the expectation of a trophy now. I don't think we should have had it at the beginning of the season, but seeing how things have started to unfold, seeing players starting to come into form, find their confidence, the whole team is starting to play confident, and not just confident, but confident within the style of football. So we're not just winning games; we're winning games, like with a consistent kind of approach to play, which is something we haven't had in maybe like 6 years, really. So even that consistency, that's something that I liken to Arsenal. Like they struggled through finding their identity, and in finding identity, now they're comfortable, and because they're comfortable, they're confident. And when you're confident, you can really play to your best. And when I look at our players, when we have a full squad, I think those guys playing confidently are one of the best in the world. I think, especially the.
Yay.
I definitely think that we should expect a trophy. I think the players themselves are now expecting a trophy.
Yeah.
And we should go for it. We should go for it. And like Wayne Rooney in his documentary spoke about winning the, or what was called, I think, the Capital One Cup at the time, or whatever. That trophy. That was their first trophy as youngins. And it was like the impetus for them to actually believe in themselves that they can win trophies. And I think something as small as the Carabao Cup could be that thing that actually ignites something in the players. Because, I mean, it's all good winning games, but once you actually are lifting something above, there's a sense of achievement. And when you have that achievement based on the way that you're playing, that almost that justifies what you're doing. And, when you're confident in what you're doing and you're getting the tangible results, there's optimism. There's optimism within the camp, and if there's optimism within the camp and you have good players, there's no reason why they shouldn't be challenging. So I definitely think that we should expect a trophy, whether it's a cup. It has to be a cup because I don't think we're winning the league. And I think it's the start of great things, I'd like to say.
and long may it continue. I think, let me just, before I'm taken out of context here with demanding a trophy, I think the Carabao Cup is sitting, can we agree that the Carabao Cup is sitting there on a plate for us, right?
No, definitely.
So, okay.
I wouldn't say on a plate. I would say like on a string because we haven't beaten Newcastle. Remember, bro, Arsenal couldn't beat them. We couldn't beat them earlier in the season. So it'll be difficult. If it's Newcastle United final, it's not going to be as easy as people think, bro.
Yeah, you're right. No final is easy, bro. Like,
Yeah,
no final is easy. But, okay. So we've got the Carabao Cup as one where it's the most realistic one.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
FA Cup is draw dependent. You could literally get Man City in the next round or like another top Prem team. Okay, cool. Europa League, like I say, if we lose to Barcelona, we better lose. Like, we better lose in the right way. I know how it sounds. I know I sound crazy saying that, but we better lose to Barcelona. Like, we better get outplayed, outclassed. We better get played off the pitch, have no answers for them. What I won't accept is us playing like we don't know what we're doing against this Barcelona team, which I don't rate in the slightest. And then, the league, look, I just want us to be in the mix. I think I genuinely, it sounds bad because I've just spoken about standards and stuff, but third will be an achievement. I know we should always aim for first. I get it, Manchester United. But if this team can get third and one of the cups, then that's a good season, in my opinion.
Definitely, bro.
And if I can just add on to your point there, Thabani, in terms of the way that we lose, in terms of these next two fixtures against City and Arsenal, I mean, we got the win over Arsenal, but we were playing like sitting back and counter-attacking football, which isn't necessarily the go-to in terms of Ten Hag's normal approach to play. So I think those games, I would like to see us play our football against them and see where we are, against the best. Because we didn't go ahead. We tried to go head to head with City, and they blew us out the water. So I would like us to go head to head again and see how much we've actually developed. Because as you say, we haven't necessarily been playing the best teams in terms of the results that we've been getting. So if we can also play that football independent of who we're playing, and see what kind of results that gets us, I think that'll also give those guys confidence to always play that way, and that just be the default. So we don't adjust. Obviously, you adjust tactically to teams, but you don't change your entire style of football because you're afraid that you'll get outplayed.
Yeah. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
And I think Ten Hag has that dog in him, and he's putting it into the players that, like, guys, we play this way of football. If we lose, we lose. But I feel like if we play this brand of football, we're likely to win if we do what we have to do. So
yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting though, because obviously I don't know if Dallas is going to be fit for the game. So Wan-Bissaka's probably going to slip into right back. Probably Casemiro, Ericsson. Yeah, bro, we can go for it, but I'm scared, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I wouldn't mind playing on that counter-attack and seeing how it goes because I know we could eat that team via counter-attacking football. But other than that, I don't know. Thabani, what are your views on? Do you think we should play a pragmatic approach, go toe to toe? I want to hear what you have to say.
I think you've kind of captured it there. We're more confident now, but I mean, I think off the top of my head, I think our last three results against City are 4-0, 4-1, and 6-3. So I don't think we really have the right to think we can go and beat City. I would personally, this is from my point of view, I would opt for a bit of pragmatism in this game because if you don't get beaten in this game, right, if you draw at home to Man City, especially given the fact that they beat us 6-3, that Haaland has basically been resting for 2 games, KDB's been rested, clearly Pep is coming to Old Trafford to spank us again. If we can escape, I would go pragmatic for this game. Where I'd want to see toe-to-toe is the Arsenal game, because that's a team we've beaten before when we got outplayed. And I think there's that sense that, you know, they outplayed us at Old Trafford. Who cares if they outplayed us? We don't need to outplay Arsenal. We need to outscore them. And I think we can outscore that team on a good day. I wouldn't try and outscore Man City because they will just score more goals than you. So I would go pragmatism against Man City and go toe-to-toe with Arsenal.
Fair enough.
That's just how I feel about it.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see, bro. And like you say, like injury, personnel, all these minor details, like this is where the game is decided. And speaking of personnel, I mean, we've spoken so much about Man United. I know our colleagues might get a bit sick of us, but let's just touch on a few things which, I mean, I personally can't believe every time I watch a Man United game. Number one, I can't believe Casemiro plays for Man United. I am shocked every time I see that guy balling for United. He's playing at such a level. I didn't think it was
Such
possible.
a high clip, honestly.
Like, I
bro.
didn't think, A, like in my wildest dreams, we could get Casemiro. And then B, that he'd actually like do what he was brought to do. Because often it's like, okay, we brought Casemiro to do this, but then the manager misuses him, or the player loses form, or he's not the right fit, or he's overpriced.
Facts,
It just feels like for once, it just feels like such a rewarding decision. And I know at some point someone's gonna clip this and Casemiro will be out of form or injured or make a mistake, and I'll look like a fool. But it's fine because for now, bro, like he's our guy. He's just the guy. So shout out to him. But let's move to a more worrying thing is our attack, because it's been said a few times in this episode that the teams that we've beaten them, but they're not the best teams. And I don't say this as a hater, but I don't want to rely the next, 22 games or whatever, 21 games on Marcus Rashford alone. I know our boy Weghorst is on the way. Weghorst announcement pending, but even that, we need more from these guys. And Tobi, I know Anthony's your guy. Do you think he has what it takes to play second fiddle? Can he really can he be he's our second top scorer at the moment behind Rashford, but even his tally isn't that high. Can we really rely on Rashford, Weghorst, and Anthony to get us the goals for the next 22 games?
Yeah, I think we actually can. And I say that because we don't have a choice, bro. I think Rashford, he's able to take that burden right now. I think when you're playing at this high clip, bro, I think you're able to perform in most games. Even if he's just scoring, I guess, one a game, it's gonna be good enough. Martial, I you know my views on Martial, bro. He's one day he's good, one day he's not. And I just don't think we can afford to carry anyone at this point, bro. We need players that are going to be performing week in and week out. So I don't know. And Anthony, again, I do think there's elements to his game that are very raw still. And I think that Ten Hag is going to need to keep on implementing new coaching philosophies into his brain, because I still think not that he's not going to be able to get better, but I do think there's elements to his game, like I said, that he's going to need to improve drastically. I think we all know with his right foot that you guys were screaming about. Like,
well, I mean, it's not you guys, bro. It's there for everyone to see. The guy doesn't use
it. Yeah, he doesn't use it. And like, especially when we're on the counter attack, it kind of almost kills the whole thing because he's too afraid. He tries to do something outside of the foot with his left foot, and it just ruins the whole thing. So I think there's elements to his game that he needs to improve on drastically. But I think it's still very early, bro. And that's something that I think that we're going to see. He's going to become a very, very good player. Well, that's my views. But Weghorst, bro, I don't know. I think that's just going to be a surprise package. I can't really give you any intake or any insight into that. So,
I think we've got Weghorst just for the fact that it'll force Martial to know that if he doesn't play, if he doesn't pull up, he's not going to play the next game.
That's good. Yeah, that's actually, that's true.
That kind of push and that competitiveness within the squad, that also helps players maintain a standard of play when they are on the pitch.
Yeah. Saw that with Luke Shaw.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Rashford, what I'm loving about Rashford now is he's having good performances regardless of if he scores, because he's confident. We haven't seen this kind of Rashford dribbling and the dribbling's working out, because you can see he's not really thinking about it. He's just doing
it.
Knows that he can get through this guy. And I think that confidence in himself is something that he's been missing for a while. And I think that even speaks to his little celebration, showing that it's a mental, you know.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing the celebration right now.
That's what I thought, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's not just, I don't know, man. Like, what he's doing now is something we've seen him do before. It's not necessarily that we're seeing a whole new Rashford. It's almost like Rashford's back. You know what I mean? And that's what I like, because now that means he can actually start building on what we thought his potential could be. And maybe he can actually reach that potential.
Yeah,
Facts. But
definitely.
before we get kicked off this podcast for making it too much about United, let's have a laugh at what's happening at one particular club in London. On Kanye's behalf, man, because we got to talk about Chelsea. We got to talk about Graham Potter. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Chelsea are struggling, but this sort of struggle feels like a different type of struggle. This feels like they're about to go through some shit, man. In the past, they're always one transfer window away from fixing things. You know, sack a manager, save the season, bring in a new player, and then all of a sudden they're back in the mix. But, you know, our boy Todd Bowley, Mr. Americano, Harry Potter's at the wheel, a squad that doesn't really make sense, like in any part of the field.
Does
You
not at
like
all.
are Chelsea? Are we making too much of this? Are we looking too much into this? Is this just a rough patch at the beginning of Potter's spell, or are there causes for concern that they maybe don't have the right guy and the right squad, um, and too many injuries at the same time? Is this like a perfect mix which ends up in Graham Potter losing his job? Um, I personally don't think we're deeping it. I think they're in real trouble. I look all over the pitch when they play, and I'm just like, what's going on here? And I just don't see a top team make so many changes so in so many games and succeed. Like this, they play a different team every week, and I don't think that's how you progress up the table. So I
Yeah.
think 10th right now, personally, is a reflection of what they are as a club, and it is scary. I'm declaring scary hours for Graham Potter. Toby, what do you think?
Um, I don't agree with you in the sense that they're not going to sack him. It does not make sense for them to sack him, and I say that because Graham Potter, he came in the middle of the season, which is, for me, I've always said that's probably one of the dumbest things for managers to do, especially when you're someone to the high caliber, tactically wise, as someone like Graham Potter, where you love implementing a different styles of plays in different times of the games and all that stuff. So players can't learn this thing just on the spot, which is why I think next season, willing that Todd Bowley decides to not stop thinking this is some American franchise and just signing random players, then I think they're going to get to a level where I think there's you left back with Lewis Hall, that other youngster, very good. What's his name again?
Chukwemeka.
Chukwemeka. Like they have ballers, they have good players. I think they brought in like the new guy from Monaco. I forgot his name, but
Badiashile.
yeah, Badiashile. Sorry. So yeah, so I think they're bringing in. I think what they're trying to do is not emulate Arsenal's model, but I think they are. I guess you can say actually try to build up a young squad, which I guess Potter can teach his ways at a very early stage, which is something I think they need to get rid of players like Obama Young. I hate to say it, but Thiago Silva's gonna have to start taking the bench soon. And yeah, so I think you're right. It's a mixture of, I guess, injuries, new players, and all this stuff. So I do think if you're an owner, you can see that it's just you can't just put all the blame on Graham Potter. So they're gonna have to give him time, man. Whether that's even if they finish seventh, eighth, you're gonna have to give him at least till midway next season. If they're flopping at that stage, then yeah, he has to dip. I won't lie.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I would
Bones.
say the season is I would call it a write off in terms of expecting anything. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, definitely.
I yeah
Go on, go on.
I think they should just kind of just focus on finding an identity,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
playing through the growing pains. Because definitely, I mean, the amount of investment that they put into the club, yes, I think it would be reckless for them to leave. I mean, to move away from Potter, especially because I think these players that they've signed right now are probably Potter's suggestions because he sees that he can mold these guys into whatever kind of play that they want. So I mean, if you move away from Potter and you bring another guy in, then what do you do? Are you gonna now do another whole 300 million summer spree? And I mean,
Bro,
then you're
doesn't
just gonna
make sense.
have a stockpile of players that aren't playing, probably unhappy because they aren't playing, and they might not be playing well because this coach might not want half of these players. Um,
Yeah.
you can't just like leave players on the bench, especially when they earn 100, 200, 250K. I mean,
Yep.
so I feel like they just have to struggle through and hope for the best next season because as
Yeah.
as Potter's way of playing is, you can see the team has to be very well drilled. It didn't
Definitely.
come like this overnight. They steadily progressed. So I think just because of the standards of Chelsea, I can understand why there are so many questions and so many fears. But I also think that when you look at it from an objective point of view, there's a lot of chaos that's happened.
Definitely.
Even up top, there's just a lot of there's a new way of doing things now. And because there's a new way of doing things, people just have to adapt, and there has to be patience. So
And
I think
just to add on to that, so do you think there's a future for Lagaka? Because obviously there's reports that Inter don't want him no more. So if he comes back to Chelsea, are they gonna maybe try find a way for him now, or what's his job, bro?
I don't know, because these guys don't have like an actual striker anymore. Like, so I think maybe there might be room for him back, but because of the free flowing football that I've seen Potter like to do, I'm not sure how well Lukaku fits into that. I think he's a bit too old to be developing some of the skill sets that
So, but then what's his future then, bro? Like, because what does he do?
Hey, bro, he
needs to go back to Anderlecht, bro, and go find himself.
So deep.
Maybe come save Everton again or something, bro. I don't know.
No, but bro, do you not find it deep that he went from being one of the best strikers in the world? Remember when he was playing for Inter that season with Conte, bro?
For 7 months. Let's just put that asterisk there. Like, it wasn't even a full season. He was just very good for like 3/4 of a season. But yeah, go on.
No, but yeah, okay, fair enough. But I'm gonna say like the fall off is just disgusting, bro. Like, how? Now, man, from 7 months later, now man's gonna whatever, a year later, 2 years later, he's gonna go play again Anderlecht. Come on, bro. I think there's a remontada coming from him, bro. I pray.
Sorry, just to go back to Chelsea and the reason why. So I hear you guys' points about patience and squad building and giving the manager time. My only issue with what you guys are saying is the fact that when Tobi was running through the list of players that could help Chelsea, all of them are new signings. You just mentioned all the new guys. I just don't know who's Chelsea's core. Like, who are they not prepared to lose? Who has to play week in, week out for Chelsea right now? I don't see a direction in terms of what they have right now. And then Bones, you said hypothetically, what do they do? Spend another 300 million? I genuinely think that's coming because of the way we've seen them spend so recklessly now. What's going to stop them from doing that again? I think the reckless thing was sacking Thomas Tuchel. That was reckless. Yes. I think the reckless thing. Okay, I'm not going to go on a whole rant now, but I think what I expect is for them to pay the price for a series of just not good decisions and poor squad building, and they're going to have to like you say play through the pain, but play through the pain of having 200 plus 250k plus a week players underperform and having to start a front four of Havertz, Sterling, Felix, and Mount, and hoping that you can go score goals with players who with either facilitators or idea players or potential players. Like, that's going to be the real pain, because we're describing a situation that's very similar to where Man United were in the past.
Literally, the Ed Woodward-led Man United are literally being mimicked right now through Chelsea. And
but I think the quality of player at Chelsea and the base at which they are now is so much higher than that, which is why I feel like, I don't want to call it worse than Man United, because what happened at Man United was bad. We're not going to get into that. But I think, like, let's not neglect that this is a club that was reaching finals, winning Champions Leagues, giving good teams a run for their money week in, week out. And then they would struggle, but I think their base level is so high that this feels like a sharp drop off. And maybe I'm being dramatic, which is fine. I don't mind being a bit dramatic, but I just think there's something ominous right now. I think this one will be this pain point that we're talking about is going to be so hard to break through. And if there's one person who's going to enjoy it, it is probably going to be Kanya, man.
Definitely. But Thabani, just to add on to your point quickly.
Yeah.
But if I was to tell you that 3 of Chelsea's, you would say, starting back 4 are all injured. So I'm talking about Reece James, Ben Chilwell, and Fofana. So like you talked about a core, right? But that whole core is basically injured. So if
And
you're an
Kante.
owner, okay, and Kante, yeah, I can probably say Kante. So if you're an owner, you can be like, okay, most of our best players are probably injured at the moment. This guy's having to play with Lewis Hall at left back because Kukurea is DJing somewhere or not playing football properly. So you have situations where like you have to say, okay, let's be realistic here. Potter, we know he's a good manager. We saw what he did at Brighton. As Bones said, it's a process. So you can't just automatically now be like, we have to get rid of this guy. And even if you get rid of this guy, who do you bring in? Thierry Henry? Who do you bring in? Come on, bro. No disrespect to Thierry Henry, they're good. But come on, it's like there's literally no one you can bring. Maybe there's Pochettino, he could probably cook something up. But it'll be the same thing because it's all a process. And I think we should use, well, not we, the owners, Todd Bowley, should use, I guess, Arteta as an example. Because at the beginning, it was a very stinky period, which is why you had people like Kanya, I don't know if Malcolm was involved or Mvu was involved, saying Arteta out, Arteta out. And now look, they're the same guys crying over him. So I think we just need to relax and just be humble and see what happens. Like I said, give him to mid-season next season. If they flop, then he has to dip. Okay, mid-season's even too long. 10 games. If they do that, then he has to go, bro. But yeah, that's my rant.
Bones, closing thoughts on Chelsea?
I mean, I would say that low-key, this is the history of Chelsea though. They do this thing where they'll be nowhere a season, and then the next season they win the league, they win the Champions.
Yeah.
Well, that's not happening. I just want you guys to know that.
Obviously. But I just feel like they're a unique club in that their success can't really be predicted the season before based on how they're playing. Because they just have a weird gene about them. And maybe that was an Abramovich-led era, and in this new era it might not be the same. But I don't know, they just have that weird gene in them, which is why I say that maybe it's just a thing of patience. And as Tobi has highlighted, there are a lot of key players that are missing. I mean, Reece James is there. And he's for your right back to be your best player. I mean, that should also be in trouble, I guess. But like I think they just need time. I think it just needs time. People need to settle. People need to adjust. People need to learn. And Potter just does need time. He really just does need time to get things going. But yeah, that's what I would say. I'd just say let's wait and see. But he should get some time.
Potter should get some time. I just don't think the guy ultimately, I think what'll be his downfall more than anything, and not to sound like a purist here, I just don't think he has the charisma for a job like Chelsea. I think to see why Pochettino didn't succeed at PSG is to understand why Potter will never succeed at Chelsea, in my opinion, because more than just tactics and style of play and player development, you as a manager just need a certain level of, you need to be the guy in your own right. Arteta has that thing, Pep, Klopp, Ten Hag, they have that thing where they're club leaders. They're not just guys who pick teams and get them to play well. They lead the club in a certain direction. And maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I just don't think Potter has that thing to take over and lead Chelsea Football Club,
yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, look, gents, it's been a good one. Happy to be back. 2023 is going to have so much in store for us. There's so many twists and turns waiting for us. There's still the Champions League, the Europa League, so much football coming to us. I'm looking forward to covering it with you guys and the rest of our colleagues. And that's a wrap. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks, gents.
Thank you. We'll be back soon. Shout out.
Yeah.